What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of The O Show. This is episode 552. We are presented by TickPick. You guys ever use TickPick.com?
I'm not.
Sorry.
Cheap plug. So like StubHub, Ticketmaster, SeatGeek.
Yeah.
We used to get the Cardinals tickets, you know?
Yeah.
I just used it last week.
No.
Sorry for not remembering.
So TickPick, for those of you that don't know, is a ticket marketplace that allows no hidden fees. So if you buy a ticket, say, you're going to an Arizona Cardinals game and it's $120, it's legitimately $120 as opposed to $35 added on and hidden taxes and fees. It's legitimately just no hidden fees. So you can use the promo code OSHOW20, that's capital OSHOW20, for $20 off your next order. We're also sponsored by Game Versus. Make your picks at Game Versus. You can win big money using that app. Download it today. I'm excited for this chat today because we've been trying to do it for a while. Your daughter just arrived. Sit down. Don't worry, you're not going to be on camera. But Cynthia, Walter Apodaca, Tatiana Apodaca. We were talking about before how you made me share affirmations the only time that you were on this podcast.
We shared that sounds just about right.
Yeah,
just about right with you guys. Mm-hmm. You guys, we were talking beforehand too. Everybody's a genius in this family. It seems like.
No.
Well, no.
Everybody's really hardworking.
Very
and really
hardworking.
Works to be really smart.
Very hardworking.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do things we love, so it makes work a little bit easier.
That ain't work if it's something you love, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
So obviously you're here, American Cancer Society, making strides.
Yes.
So what's the link that people can check that out just so that we can put that up on the screen?
It's Making Strides. I'll have to get you that link. Let's see. Yeah, it's Making Strides Against Breastcancer.org.
Perfect. That way everybody could donate. There's 7 days left.
No, actually, for
me,
if they want to donate, for me, I'm raising $25,000. So I am the honoree this year. So I'm their spokesperson. I've been doing quite a bit of interviews. So yes, they have asked me to represent them. And so with that, I am raising $25,000. And I have until the end of the year to get to that big number. So I'm pushing it this month, but people can give until the end of the year.
That's incredible. You've built a really cool community around yourself too.
Yes.
Doing
this.
this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, do you think other people kind of in your shoes who have gone through what you went through are in the same boat of wanting to kind of reach out and help everybody around in the community? Or
Not so much. No, I've met a lot of great people who have been doing it, and they're survivors. But no, a lot of people, ladies that I know, no, they haven't gotten involved.
I think sometimes it's a bad memory.
Yeah.
And people don't want to relive it. It takes some courage to go back after having dealt with it and then encounter it every day, all the time.
True.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because I had, you kind of try to forget about it, and then with this campaign, with me talking about it again, it just has brought up a lot of different feelings for sure. So.
And you say you're an introvert, which is crazy.
I am.
What do you think makes
shy. I'm shy as a person.
What do you think makes an introvert like someone who like wants to go out of their way to do stuff like that? I said I was an introvert, yet I talk for a living. Like what makes introverts?
Mine is passion for people. I think I just always want to give back and love on people, and I feel like God gave me a second chance, and I needed to use my voice in a way. And even though it is nerve-wracking for me, He gives me the strength to do it, for sure.
When did you guys meet?
College. We were 33 years ago.
Colorado?
Yeah.
Colorado. On the Auraria campus, Metro State.
University now.
It's now university, yeah.
CU Denver.
I saw her once, and I spent the next week and a half trying to find her again on a campus with like 60,000 people.
Different times. There's no Instagram. There's no TikTok.
Nothing. And we ended up.
I found her though.
Yeah, we were in the same class.
Yeah.
Our last class.
Last class of the day. I get in there. It's a few days or maybe even a week later, and there she is, this girl that I've been trying to find. And I invited her to go have drinks or food, and I didn't have any money. That was first mistake, because we did have drinks and food.
The things you do for love. Have you heard the story before? Yeah. Is it what else? What else?
We're just giving a little bit.
So That's a hard.
He was broke. Okay, he was broke. Let's just say it that way.
Well, I
So
was broke
See,
for a reason.
This is a great entrepreneurial story, though. So
it
go ahead.
is.
It is. It's also a good. It's a good lesson in how to choose better things to do with your life. So, so my first son was born a few days after my 16th birthday, and then his mom left in the middle of the night just a couple months later, and we never saw her again. So my oldest son's not met his mom, and I was also a kid, so I was raising a kid with the help of my mom, and it's not an easy thing to do. So long story short, I dropped out of high school and started to work. It just didn't feel right. What's the best way to put this? I was an amateur pharmacist, so I was making pretty good money. And then one day I saw something in that lifestyle that just scared the life out of me and decided that's it. Not doing it anymore. Went back to school, went back to high school, caught up the 2 years that I had missed, and graduated 1 year behind, so I caught 1 year up. Went to college on a scholarship, and that's when I saw her. So I'm no longer doing the things that I shouldn't have been doing to make money, and I'm flat broke. My dad had given me a car to use for school. It was a 1980 El Camino, doo-doo brown. If you don't know what that is, that's the truck car, right? Literally had AstroTurf in the back on the bed.
Yeah.
And CV antennas on the side. It's not a girl-friendly car by any means. And that morning I was driving to school, I remember very vividly that the car was nearly out of gas. I had no money to pay for gas. I had a full day of classes, and I didn't have money for lunch. So by the end of the day, I'm starving. And I had seen this girl earlier, a week or so ago, that I'm looking for a week, and I find her in my last class. I'm like, oh my God, I have to ask her out for drinks. We go to have drinks. The check comes after hours later. They had peanuts, by the way, on the table. You know, like bucket of peanuts where you shell it and throw the shells on the floor. Right. I think I ate like 2 buckets of peanuts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we didn't order any food, but he just ate a lot of
Had a couple of drinks, and I just ate a lot of peanuts because that was my lunch.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the
I'm
check
thinking
came.
I have no chance at all because the check came, and I look at this young lady, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have any money. And she's like, don't even worry about it. I got it. And then I'm like, you're kidding. So she pays, we leave, and she says, would you like to come over to my apartment? I have some friends over. They're having drinks and so forth.
Yeah, it was a Friday night, so like everybody was just going to hang out. And
Nice.
I just lived like a couple blocks from
She only
college.
lived like 2 blocks. And she's like, no. I said, well, let me give you a ride. It's the least I could do since you bought food. And she's like, no. We can walk. It's really close. I'm like, no, let me give you a ride. Well, I wasn't thinking. I had parked my car felt like miles away.
Yeah.
Because it was free parking. So we're walking through these parking lots, and every time she sees a car, she starts walking towards it. I'm like, that's not me. Because it was late. There weren't a lot of cars in the parking lot. We had been at this place having beer for a while. And finally we get to this dirt road. She has to climb through a fence. We walk down this dirt road, and at the end of the dirt road is this piece of shit, El Camino. And I walk up to the door, and I open the door for her, and I hadn't been thinking, of course, the whole day, frankly, apparently. And there was like an alternator on the seat and a bunch of tools and stuff. I had to push all those onto the floor. She kind of looked at me like, what the hell? And she got in, and she kind of sat like this. And I drive her to her apartment, and just as I pull up to her apartment, the car runs out of gas. She didn't know it until much later, though.
Yeah.
I coasted it into a parking spot, put it in park, turned the key like I was turning it off, and we sat there and talked for a while, and she said, well, come on up, meet my friends. And there's a lot more to the story, but we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
Perfect. You were into him right away?
No.
Based on that?
No. There was definitely like a lot of questions for me, but I mean, his conversation, like I just really enjoyed having a conversation with him, and him not just trying to, pick me up. He really wanted to get to know me, and we
I had no
got
choice. I had nothing else to give.
No, but he had goals. You know, it was just like he was just very different from any guy I had dated. Even though he had nothing, I didn't care. I just saw the potential in him.
So did you always feel like you were wired differently that way? Like as an entrepreneur now, but like going up through the ranks, whether it be like Miller Coors or Coca-Cola, kind of like being kind of the man when it comes to your own team, but not the man when it comes to owning your own business. Did you always feel like you had that knack to be a leader?
You know, that's a good question. It's an interesting one. Part of it it's the teamwork.
Yeah.
You know, I always felt like I wanted to do something. I wasn't good at, 100% good at doing it on my own. And when we met one another and we started to share our dreams, like together, what we wanted to build, that painted a picture, right? So I talk to people all the time about, you have to have a really, really vivid image of what it is you're trying to achieve. You can't just say, I don't know, right? And if you don't know, then at least pick a couple of milestones, right? Because you have to feel like you've gotten where you were intending to go.
Yeah.
And so we started to set.
Well, our first anniversary.
Yeah.
Our first anniversary, like he took me to this amazing restaurant in the canyon, Boulder Canyon.
Which again,
we couldn't afford that.
I paid though this time.
Yeah, he paid. He paid ever since.
Ever since.
He paid, but we set our goals for our life. I mean, as from the house.
Detailed to what color the house was going to be.
Yeah.
What climate we wanted to live in.
Where we wanted to live, exactly.
We wanted to have either nice clothes or nice cars, and it wasn't just about material things. It was more about like, let's paint a picture of what we want so we know what we're chasing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's going to make you spiritually happy as opposed to just
exactly
100%.
Yeah.
surface level BS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of surface level, and we fall into it, occasionally. I think everyone does. But for us, at least, it was certainly a team effort.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurial side came a little bit later. I was climbing corporate ladders and falling into some pretty big jobs. But to go back to that question, what really changed for me and made me decide I wanted to be an entrepreneur is I was speaking to a friend of mine who's, he'd never tell me his net worth, but he's probably right around $1 billion in net worth, probably more. And he's my age, lives in LA, Latino guy. We have a ton in common. Our birthdays are just a few days apart, and we became really good friends. He was a customer of mine. And I was sitting in his backyard at his 20,000, square foot estate one day, being waited on by his, house staff. And I said, David, there's not much difference between the two of us, right? Like, I'm working for a living, doing okay, but you're just killing it, right? What's the difference? And he said, you know what, Walter, if you jumped off of a cliff, like a 200-foot cliff, do you think you'd die? And my immediate answer was, yeah, of course. He goes, no, I want you to think about that a little differently. Do you believe that if you jumped off a cliff, that you would hit the ground and die? Now think about it. And it's a really weird answer. I thought in my head, no, I wouldn't. Something would happen. My clothes would catch a branch. There'd be water down. I don't know what it was, but in my mind, I couldn't see myself. And he said, that's exactly what I thought. You need to quit your job. You won't hit the ground. Quit your job and go build an enterprise because you can't do both. And that was it. That day we had a conversation and I shared that story with her and she said, all right. And I walked away from a pretty high-paying job.
Yeah, nice.
When was that, like 2010 when you guys were like formulating Vessl, or
right around that time, 2010-ish, 2009.
Well, we started with a tequila company.
We had kids in school, a home. We were living a lifestyle that was commensurate with what we were making at the time. And we kind of told the kids one day. They knew, though. It's funny how they knew.
Yeah.
Because they said, you guys never shop at Walmart, and now you're like shopping
our Target.
Our Target.
Like, I mean, they were shopping at Nordstrom all the time. They were living very nicely. And then we're like, okay, we're cutting back now.
Everything got cut back. And so because we didn't tell them right away, we just adjusted the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Man. And then again, like, not to say that stuff is like superficial, but like at a certain point, it's like you deserve it,
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
There's another way we've thought about it, though. And I think people misinterpret these things sometimes. for example, our business is doing something pretty incredible for the world.
Yeah.
And when people realize what we're doing with our business and we're the ones leading it, think of asking them, would you rather that we're cutting our grass, washing our cars, and cleaning our home? Or do you want us to do this really cool thing for the world? We can't do both. So sometimes those luxuries aren't necessarily luxuries. They're just a means to get where we're going. And there's resources that allow you to do that. But in the end, we're grateful for what we have. Our housekeeper runs our R&D at this moment. Mm-hmm. She went from that to a big job in the company.
Yeah.
So when you guys are sitting at that dinner table that one night planning out like years ahead, what sparked this? Because obviously it didn't happen overnight, and there's probably been a lot of tweaks and adjustments, trial and error, getting it started. But like, why was this kind of the thing that set your soul on fire in that sense?
Honestly, I opened the first one, right? I saw this thing. The friend that I mentioned to actually introduced me to the guy who had the tech and was licensing it from. It's going to be a little hard to see with this bottle. Maybe this one's better. And he invited me to his house, and he said, hey, my friend, my neighbor, actually has this really cool tech. I want you to see it. I had been in LA all week, and I just wanted to get home. I was on my way to LAX, and he said, you need to come over here. And he lives in Orange County. I'm like, Dave, can't do this, man. I seriously need to get home. I am wiped. He goes, no, you need to come here. You need to see what my neighbor has. It's this really cool thing. And he goes, look, and if he lives next door to me, he's not messing around. And he didn't say that arrogantly. It was a fact. And I went into the house and I opened this and I saw that. And I'm like, whoa, what is that? And how does it work? What does it do? And in the end, we saw the potential to really, really improve efficiencies in a world that I'd spent my whole career working in. Again, I came home, showed it to her. It was filled with blue dye.
Yeah, it was blue dye. There was nothing but blue dye.
Asked her for permission to quit another job that we had just put a lot of money into and go do something new.
But you guys obviously had a lot saved up. It wasn't just like you were starting from scratch. Like, you could afford.
Oh yeah, we had to live on our savings for a while.
We were pretty fortunate. Sure. Yeah, I had a couple of jobs in industries that were doing really, really well, and they paid bonuses and stock and so forth. And we lived a pretty modest lifestyle so that we could rat hole some cash and do this stuff later.
What did you guys want to do growing up as kids? Like, what was like do you even like remember the initial dream that either of you guys had, even before you guys met?
I actually wanted to go into broadcasting or go into, I know, or go, at one point I moved to LA, I wanted to be an actress. Don't know why, but never even pushed through for that. I just,
Well, there's still time left.
No.
Why not? I mean, for broadcasting in particular.
Yeah. But I don't know. How about you? You wanted to be in music.
Well, I love music. I loved it as a hobby. I actually went to school, not college, but I went to when I went back to school, I mentioned I dropped out. I went to a magnet school in Denver called CEC, which was a career center. And they had the typical career stuff, your welding, auto mechanics, and so forth. But this one was pretty unique. They had an audio engineering, film, and video production curriculum. And I went into that. So I learned, like we were editing 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter film, which is a whole different world than this stuff. But it's so cool to learn. We learned to shoot film, which is incredible as well. And it was right around the time that Robert Rodriguez had done his first El Mariachi, which was a film filmed on a budget of, you guys probably know the film well, a few $1,000. Mm-hmm. And so we had all this inspiration, and we were doing it. We were recording music, shooting videos, shooting film. We had a radio class, so we'd do radio. And I loved it, but I also realized that it's not what I wanted to do for a living. It's something that I wanted to do maybe later. I wanted to build something for a living. I just didn't know what.
Right. Yeah. What music you listen to?
It's all over.
All over the place.
It's really all over. And my heart, I'm soul and jazz. Yeah. We both are. Mm-hmm. We're jazz nuts.
Yeah.
And not like marshmallow, modern jazz.
Right.
It's like Bill Evans and Miles Davis and Coltrane and
Diana Krall.
And we travel the world as a result of my work, and everywhere we go, when she can go, we'll go check out the best two jazz spots and listen to live jazz, soul or R&B as well.
Yeah.
But then we're rock fans.
Yeah.
Played in a metal band when I was in high school. I mean, we just love it all.
Please talk about that for a
I
second.
had hair. No, I can't.
Really? You were in a metal band?
Yeah. We covered Metallica and Megadeth and all that sort of stuff.
I think what else.
I was never a metal guy. I could play the songs, so it was work.
Yeah. And you had hair, like defined hair.
When I met him,
Long hair?
Yeah.
I used to have hair like down to my chest.
Yeah.
And then I cut it, immediately regretted it, and now we're trying to grow it back. So it's hat season.
Yeah.
But that's really funny that you guys have all of these cool different. I mean, I think that's the coolest thing about people that you get to interact with on this level as well, is that everybody has a unique story like that of where they started, where they wanted to be, and where they ended up and where life took them. It's like a completely different person too that you guys probably became, that you're obviously thankful for at the same time, but completely different avenue that the world took you down.
For sure.
We made mistakes too, or things that we, in hindsight, wouldn't have done. And unfortunately, when they're big companies and big moves, they like include moving your entire family across the country.
Yeah, we had to move them quite a few times.
Quite a few times.
What states? I know, like Florida.
California twice, Florida.
Yeah, NorCal
Arizona.
and Southern California.
Yeah, Northern California and Southern California. So, we counted one time on my son Milan's birthday. I think it was his 15th birthday. And he had lived in 14 different houses and apartments in his 15 years. And we were like, that's it, no more. That was another motivation, actually, to starting doing our own thing. Because with big companies, I've started to find out that I was just sort of a fixer. They'd have a broken, whatever, and we'd go fix it. So it meant moving all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get the promotion.
To get the promotion, to get the money. And we just got tired of it. And we said, you know what, we're going to stay here in Arizona. And we love Arizona.
Yes. We're not going to leave Arizona.
The desert. What
We're
about
desert
you?
people.
You staying in the desert? Figuring it out?
Well, Colorado.
Figuring
We'll
out.
probably buy
It's-
something in Colorado.
mountains.
Just because
It's still
the whole
close.
family's there. So 2 of our kids are there. So we have to.
That's a funny
Everyone's
thing,
there.
too. And you're going to probably get mad because it's not going to come off right. But I think they'd all understand. When we had that conversation about what we're going to do with our life, one of the things that we decided for sure, without question, is we were leaving Colorado. We wanted to get away from our family. Not in a bad way. We just wanted to. We both come from families where they all still live in the same neighborhood, hers and mine, for generations.
I feel that.
Like they don't leave. And we didn't want to do that. We wanted to go carve something new.
Which is not a bad thing, but we just wanted to venture out.
Everybody else has their own way of living.
Right.
My grandparents lived a block down the street from us growing up. My mom didn't even leave the neighborhood, So everybody else has like their own thing. I went across the country, had to get out because same deal. Everybody's just in the neighborhood. Everybody's in the same town, just in their niches and their cliques. It's boring as far as I'm concerned, and you guys probably felt the same way.
We did.
And there was nothing bad about it, but we knew that there were places where if you wanted to go, like Colorado or Denver wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
So when we were growing up, if you wanted to go catch a show on the weekend, maybe somebody would be playing somewhere, but most likely not. Nothing wrong with country. I actually love country music, but that would be one of your only choices, right? So the thought of San Francisco or New York or LA, it appealed to us. In fact, we went on vacation to San Francisco.
Our first trip to San Francisco, and that's when we decided we're
out.
We're leaving Colorado. We're going somewhere. We said we were going to go to San Francisco. We did.
We
ended up going. Yeah,
we
ended up going. So
we said we went on this trip. We went on this vacation. We looked at each other at one point and just sort of said, "This is where we're coming. We're going to move to the Bay Area."
Yep.
And we did. I got promoted, recruited by a new company. Got promoted. Had an opportunity, had a couple places to choose from to go, and
we decided
Bay Area is one of them, and we took it.
That's where Tatiana was born.
A Bay girl? Really? I didn't know that.
Girl.
Yeah, she's born in
crazy.
Concord, California, on the East Bay.
That's crazy though, because now it's like Phoenix is blowing up, Denver's blowing up, Nashville's blowing up. Like all of these towns that were nothing back in the day.
Nashville's
like
on the
10
list
years.
right now.
Yeah, we
Even
haven't
Austin.
been. We have not been to Nashville. We're gonna go.
Nashville's the place to be right now.
I've been, but I've not really enjoyed it. But it's funny that you've not been to Nashville. But we were listening to music last night, and you're like, this just reminds me of like Nashville.
Yeah. Well, I watch things that are in Nashville, so I know.
Gotta check out like Franklin, like right outside the Strip area right there. Obviously, in the center of town, it's hectic. It's just like LA. It's like Austin, in the center of Austin too. That place is blowing up. I don't even think they're ready for it either.
I think everybody from California moved to Austin.
Yeah. Oh my God. So this is it. Arizona's it.
Well, we're going to buy
home base.
Home base,
Yeah, home base.
We would like
we love
to buy...
the desert. I mean, the first thing you said is the desert, but we're desert people, especially this time of year. Maybe not this day. I don't know where the hell this rain came from. But
I don't know. It's like raining 25 minutes on, then it's sunny, then it's like, this is what the East Coast is in the spring. One day it's 20 degrees and snowing, the next it's 90. You don't know what to wear, And
the humidity this summer was kind of crazy. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, we grew up in Denver, which is famous for that. If there's a saying, if you don't like the weather, it'll change.
Or change it. Wait a few minutes and it'll change.
It's going to change.
Yeah.
It's constantly something different. I don't know. There's something about that desert air, though, in the fall. I mean, you guys got to know what I'm talking about. When it's the same temperature inside as it is outside, there's no bugs, there's no wind.
So
it's like
beautiful.
literally like it's being in the backyard is being in your living room with a really beautiful ceiling.
And we have the most beautiful sunsets here, I think.
What's the best place to travel to? What's been like your best vacation or just like best spot?
Our vacations are a little different. They're not like resort oriented or paradise. We like cities.
Yeah.
So Japan was one of our favorite.
Tokyo's incredible.
Yeah, that was.
We've been a few times just because she fell in love with it. She didn't want to go.
I was like,
she's like, I don't know.
How long is the flight?
14 hours plus LA, so you're in 17, 18 hours of travel.
Our alarm's going off. Sorry. You want to go get it?
I'm going to go take care of this.
Yeah, sorry, our house alarm's going off.
That's it.
Uh-oh.
Someone's breaking in.
You got to hold the fort down.
So Japan.
Yes, Japan. I was pleasantly surprised. It is beautiful. And the people, I just fell in love with the people. They are so kind. I mean, talk about manners. I remember we went to the mall and it was like I didn't know it at the time, but it was like a Forever 21 store. So like,
really?
Kind of nothing, expensive. And you would think it was like Neiman Marcus, the way the lady was treating me, how they wrapped the package so beautiful. And then they walk you out with the package and hand it to you. It's like, their etiquette
the discipline,
is just, yeah. And the food was amazing as well. But
Tokyo and Dublin are my two spots that I haven't hit yet. That I want to check out.
Yeah, that would be fun. Mexico City was also pretty cool. The food, like they have, 5 diamond restaurants, like multiple restaurants, and we got to go to a few of them, and that was amazing.
How far away is Mexico City? Like that's not driving distance at all, right?
No. You have to fly
My geography is really bad. I have no idea.
Yeah. You have to fly in. It's been a few years since we went there. It's about, I want to say a 2.5, 3 hour flight. Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Ooh, I do want to ask you, when did you meet Courtney Love? I have a funny story of how the first time I ever, I was doing a film project for school during COVID. And we got to do whatever we wanted. It was like a documentary series. And I chose it to do on murder mysteries for rock stars.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm just into rock music that much. And I chose Kurt Cobain because there's all these theories out there and books that say Courtney Love conspired to kill him. So I was just reading up and then looking at all these pictures to put in my thing. And I came across one with you and Courtney Love. And then Gia kind of like, that looks just like my friend Tatiana. And then I just put it down. I'm like, all right, cool.
Oh, it's her mom.
Yeah. And then couple years later, I like look back at it again because I didn't think much of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's
It
Cynthia.
is. Yeah. We were at the film festival in Utah, and we were, just had Tea of a Kind, and we were going to all the events, and she was there, and she fell in love with Tea of a Kind.
Yeah.
We like gave her cases of it. She's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, we got to hang out with her for a bit.
Do you guys look back at certain things when you first started Vessl and kind of building those partnerships and relationships with people? I mean, you already had them beforehand, but were there any big trial and error moments that almost didn't see the light of day? Like you guys almost didn't push through?
Oh yeah. Beginning of Tea of a Kind. We used to put real sugar in it, and we just had some fails with it. So we switched to monk fruit and stevia, and people liked it better just because there's no calories and it's natural. But yeah, definitely in the beginning, we had some fails.
Yeah. Like to the point of like, we need to find jobs again, or just like, okay.
Like it was scary.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, this isn't going to make it. And that was because we started Tea of a Kind just so that we could get it out there and so we could show people the Vessl. We weren't just going to do Tea of a Kind. We had so many other companies that we had in mind that we could use the cap for. But we had to prove ourselves. So that's why we started with a tea. It was, very popular, and we wanted to just get it out there. And he was asking about if we had any fails in the beginning where we thought it was going to go down. And I was like, oh, yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah. Just to fill you in.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about a little dog at home freaking out right now because the alarm was going off at home.
Oh, shoot.
Just going nuts, I believe it.
I'm scared, yeah. You asked about, so when we first got the tech, there was a big debate on whether we just licensed it to large companies right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my concern was that you have big companies aren't going to buy a new technology without some proof, and we decided to do our own proof of concept brand. At the time, ready to drink tea was the fastest growing category in beverage, so we hopped into that. So failures, we picked the wrong target demographic when we first launched it. It didn't go very well.
That's what it was, because we put the sugar in it, and they were more on the healthier side.
And just a variety of things. I mean, you try to get everything right. The path to success is paved with failure, frankly. So if you can't take failure and you can't fall down, you can't do it, period. Because you don't get there without
pushing through.
I mean, maybe there's people who are just incredibly lucky. And they win a bunch of money, or they're aired a bunch of money, or who knows. Yeah. But most of the time, you look at some of the people who get hated on today for their success, whether it's Elon Musk or any number of others, they had to work their
they earned it.
asses off to get what they have.
What they're doing is like if you emulate some of that stuff, it works too. Like we have a lot of friends that I hang out with that like hate Grant Cardone for what he does. I'm just like, read his stuff and apply it to what you're doing and you'll see results.
Yeah. And I'm not even trying to pick even whether it's a particular political agenda or not. But the bottom line is, you asked earlier, what did you dream of doing?
Yep.
Imagine how many kids have dreamed of owning or being an astronaut or somehow launching something into space. And in the world, in all of humanity, there's a couple of people who have done it. I'm talking about non-government agency, private.
Yeah.
Right? Those guys are doing that. That's just among the many things that have changed the world. And it was a dream of one person. It's incredible.
I mean, Elon Musk has studied that for years, though.
Oh,
I feel like the Jeff Bezoses of the world shouldn't be doing that stuff.
Yeah. That's a little different. You're right.
He would be a perfect Dr. Evil, though. Like if he does get into space, he looks like somebody who shouldn't be there.
No.
So hopefully
100%.
I think he has gotten to space, actually. He
I
did.
think
they wore a cowboy hat.
I think they went up, he saw it, he's like, all right, take us back down. I think it was that quick.
Oh, really?
It was just straight shoot up and then right back down.
Okay.
That feels a little more like a rich guy bucket list, whereas Elon
Exactly.
Musk feels like, I think I can build something that is going to be
Elon
a
Musk
legacy.
can't sleep at night because he
Right.
wants to do something about it.
Yeah.
Where like Bezos
I don't know
is
enough
like, I want
about
to
it
see
to-
it. I've seen it. Let's go back down.
Yeah,
That's true.
Any more bucket list things for you guys, as opposed to just like traveling around the world? Like anything you want to accomplish in business, or like anything else you want to start?
Yeah, well, there's a few, but I'll let her.
No, go ahead.
What would you like to do?
I know. I don't know. I always want to get more involved with nonprofits and, help in that way. My heart is always with the children, something to help with children.
Mine is going to sound really bad now. Because Keurig, the coffee,
Yeah,
they sold for $14 billion.
I believe it.
I just
They're
want to do
providing
that.
value.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah,
low
that's
watermark.
its goal. That's our goal for,
That's
for
the low
Vessl.
watermark.
You had any ideas?
Oh,
We're going to do it with this. Yeah, we're going to do it. This tech. I mean, we don't have time nor the research to show you everything we're doing, but we're transforming the way that alcoholic products are being manufactured and distributed. We have an innovation that essentially eliminates the need for the glass bottle or a bottle, period. We're doing that same thing with household cleaning items and disinfectants and pharmaceutical.
Water.
Yeah, we have a product launching in Tokyo in December that I have to be careful what I say.
Yeah,
'cause
I
I'm not
actually
supposed-
wouldn't say anymore.
No, we can say a little more. I say it all the time. So they have a 2-liter bottle of mineral water that they sell in grocery stores. And in Tokyo, the average number of trips that a person takes to the grocery store, a family, is like 7.5 per week. They're there every day. And this is one of the most frequently occurring items in their shopping basket. It's mineral water, and that mineral water is used in the home for making tea, cooking, drinking, basically the things that you consume. And then the household tap water is used, sometimes for some of the cooking and stuff like that, but generally just for washing and cleaning. But it's incredibly expensive and difficult to get 2-liter bottles, big giant bottles, through the supply chain in Japan. And then every one of those bottles comes with a single-use disposable plastic bottle that ends up in a landfill, unless you recycle it and recover it. So we developed a solution that uses a bit of a different closure than this. It's aluminum. I won't get into all the details. That's where I can get in trouble. But what happens is the consumer has a 2-liter reusable bottle at home that's dishwasher safe and is used for thousands of cycles. And they apply one of the closures. They fill it with water, apply one of the closures to it, open it, and it makes that exact same mineral water that they've been buying at the grocery store. And this company decided that they'd like to replace or eliminate those 2-liter bottles. And it does a bunch of really cool things for them. They're no longer going through traditional retail. They're going, because everything's moved to e-commerce. COVID accelerated that. This gives that company the ability to push their product straight through e-commerce, because otherwise that 2-liter bottle would be too expensive to ship,
Yeah.
right?
Well, even with Tea of a Kind, we've changed
doing
over
that.
to e-commerce. So before we used to ship a full bottle of Tea of a Kind. Now we ship 24 taps, and you get the reusable bottle. You fill the water yourself, and you have your tea.
Think of things like this. Bleach, a gallon of bleach is about 1.8 ounces of active ingredients. The rest is water. So why in the world would you ship water anywhere when it's available nearly everywhere? It's already being shipped there, right? The municipal systems to supply water are already there. So we like to think of our business like, Netflix changed the way you received movies or media. So instead of, originally they did it through the mail with DVDs, but after that it was a streaming service. So they took the product and they compressed it into something much smaller, in this case, bits of information, and stream it to your phone. They didn't reinvent movies. They reinvented the way that movies were distributed to you. Yeah. We're not reinventing bleach or tea or alcohol or any number of products. We're just reinventing the way they're delivered to you. And by compressing it into a much smaller product, reducing materials, reducing waste, One last example, and then I'll stop talking about it because this all feels like business. We can get 350,000 of these on half a semi-truckload. It would take 30 truckloads to deliver the equivalent number of 2-liter bottles.
We're saving the planet.
Why ship all those bottles? We're trying. We're doing our best. Yeah.
You guys say you're not geniuses. That was pretty. I was pretty articulate in what you were just saying right there with everything going on. I mean, that's crazy.
We have a lot of practice.
A lot of I mean, your mind's just racing all the time, I bet. How many books does Milan read a month? In a week?
I think Sierra and Milan probably knocked out 50 plus books last year.
You too.
So a book a week. Tati, how many did you knock out last year?
Not as much as that. Sierra probably reads about a book a week.
Yeah.
Milan just takes on much harder reads.
Yeah.
Like just incredibly difficult. He's an autodidact. I didn't finish my undergraduate degree. Milan hasn't either. And I think our kids say it all the time. He's easily
the smartest one.
Has the most knowledge of all of them because he just devours it. I think school was in his way, frankly.
No, he's teaching himself piano. So that's his new thing.
God.
He teaches himself everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, programming, piano, guitar, all that wonderful stuff.
All of our kids do different things. They're very creative. Very
you want us
smart,
to brag on
creative.
our kids? We can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the platform to do it.
Yeah.
And then I make you guys clips later for it, and it's a proud moment that you can look back on. But like, do you think you guys, because obviously they're all smart in their own way, but at the same time, do you guys feel like you set them up for that? Like when it comes to like disciplining your kids at a young age?
Definitely.
Were they rowdy? Were they a pain in the
A
ass?
little bit, but not a pain in the ass.
Not a pain. They were definitely. I mean, we had 2 boys and 2 girls, and poor Tatiana got the brunt of it because they were always messing with her. But no, they were good kids for the most part.
I mean, we all had. They got in a fight or a suspension or broke something, but never had. Weren't picking any of them up from jail. Weren't dealing with, and I don't pass this as judgment at all, but no heavy drugs or that sort of thing. And I know a lot of families deal with that, so it's difficult.
Yeah.
I think part of it is this is another decision. This is that dinner we talked about where we started to decide. We talked about like what are we going to do with our kids? One, we weren't going to hide much from them, like whether it was alcohol consumption or drugs or whatever. We felt like if things were hidden and not allowed or mysterious in some way because then they'd want it even more.
Yeah.
I think it's because that's what happened with us, right?
Yeah.
It was the forbidden fruit. And so we were really careful to let them see literally everything. And as a result, they don't overindulge in any of it. They've sort of stayed away from it. They got exposed to firearms early. They got exposed to, I don't want to say like we gave them drugs, but we didn't hide it from them.
Talking about cannabis because we have the
have
products, obviously. But not only that. I think we did talk to them about things like that, but we also gave them the passion for reading. I mean, I took them to the library all the time and just made education really important. They had to work hard. We were very disciplined in their homework.
Yeah, like your good examples. You told them, you've said this a bunch of times, like you can wear your hair whatever way you want. You could do literally whatever you want, but you better do well in school. Everything else didn't matter. Yeah,
school was really important to us for sure.
So you've talked about this obviously multiple times on multiple different platforms, your story, obviously going through what you went through. And I won't make you talk about it again because I know it's probably difficult and emotional. But going through that as a mother, how do you use that as strength when your kids are watching you? Because again, they're all relatively old. You were like a senior in high school.
Yeah. They gave me so much strength. I mean, I'm so thankful that they were there for me. I don't think I would have been able to get through it as easily if I didn't have them. They, I don't know. I feel like I really dug deep during that time. And that's where I think my faith really came in. I mean, I remember hours on end, my sisters would give me a call and we would pray. And I would feel, I felt like I felt the relief, I felt the presence of God, and I felt the strength. And that's what really got me through it. I mean, I feel very blessed that I didn't have to go through a lot of the things. I mean, I lost my hair. That was, I think, the most emotional. I mean, I always had long hair for the most part of my life, and having to lose it was huge for me. My daughters and my son Milan, it was so cool when they told me, okay, you're going to start losing your hair. So some people shave it, some people, let it fall out. I said, okay, I'm not ready to let it go all the way. So I shaved like the whole side so that if I put my hair down, you couldn't tell yet. And Tatiana and Sierra shaved the back of their heads. Same thing, so they could put their hair down. And my son Milan shaved his whole head for me. And he was in Colorado. And so we did it on FaceTime so he could be a part of it. So that was one thing that really sticks with me when I think back on going through it all. A lot of it is a blur. I mean, you're in chemo, and to this day, I still have sometimes chemo brain because it's like, it's hard. Like that stuff really messes with you. Mm-hmm. So I was like really out of it.
We had a lot happen to us at once.
That's the other thing.
So
yeah.
she, I had a business partner who we found was stealing a bunch of money from us, and a lot. And we had to exit him from the business, which was a big legal battle, and then a settlement and so forth. And then after we got rid of him, we found out that he was running yet another scheme and was raising money using our company as the asset and then keeping the money for himself.
Yeah.
My son had an accident that caused him to lose vision in both eyes. And then shortly after the surgery, to repair one of the eyes, he was in an accident that essentially destroyed that eye. So he lost vision in it permanently. The other eye hadn't even healed yet.
And so he was going through that while I was going through my
She's in the
chemo.
depth of chemo.
Yeah.
I don't even, most of those 2 years, I don't remember. I just don't even remember them. Not that I don't want to. I think we were working so hard to just stay alive, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
That everything else was it just blew by.
Yeah.
Who are the most supportive people in that time outside the family, whether it be like business partners or
I had some
extended family?
girlfriends that were amazing. They would come
figure out
bring
who
me
your real
food.
friends
All my
are.
my neighborhood was, they were so supportive. They would bring me meals all the time.
And more.
And check on me. And yeah.
Prayers and help.
Prayers,
and
yeah.
But like I said, we figured out, and we won't say who, but we also figured out who weren't real friends.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
right?
yeah.
When the lawsuit happened and the business was in trouble, and she's going through chemo, and we're not taking people anymore to expensive dinners, some friends just disappeared from our life, or what we thought were friends. They obviously weren't friends. But then it also highlighted those that really do care. You said who were the most supportive out of the family, and we answered that, but the most supportive were our kids.
Yeah.
And usually you think it's going to be like somebody else, right? Somebody older, parents or aunts or uncles. Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah.
It was our
They
kids.
were right there. And I had like my girlfriend, one of my best friends in California, flew out and stayed with me. One of my sisters came out and stayed with me. One of my sister-in-law came out and stayed with me. My aunt. I mean, I had a lot of love and support. So that helped for sure.
Do you ever get messages from now with like the campaign and everything and what you're doing now? You get messages from random people telling you their story and how it kind of inspires them to get through stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I had a girlfriend just call me a few months ago. And she said, Cynthia, I saw on social media, we kind of lost touch, but she's like, I watched what you went through on social media, and now I'm going through it. And so I'm now giving her strength and, supporting her to get through it. But yeah, I think so.
I think it's important we talk a little bit about this, especially for other people that are dealing with it, whatever ailment, not just cancer. When we first heard the news, of course, her first reaction was she freaked out and she was scared, and
I couldn't believe it. I was like, no. Because everybody used to make fun of me. I was like the juice queen. I was like doing green smoothies. Healthy. Like I was always exercising. I mean, and then for me to get it, it's like, wait, what? What? I couldn't even speak when the doctor called. I was like, no way. This is the other thing that was crazy. Okay, so I had to go, get my mammogram, and right away they had me do the ultrasound. And they said, start asking me questions. Does anybody in your family have breast cancer, all that? And then they say, okay, you need to go get a biopsy. I go get the biopsy, and the doctor and the nurse come in. The doctor says, I've been doing this for 20 some odd years. You don't have cancer.
This is not
looking at cancer. You don't even have to worry about it.
So we were going on a trip.
Yeah.
And we had decided, you know what, we're not going to go. And then this doctor, we didn't know much about it, says,
oh, you don't have to worry.
Good. Don't even worry about it.
So when I got
we go on this trip. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Go
We're having a great time. She's like, cancer's off of her mind. And we get home.
Yeah. Then we get home, and my doctor calls me, and, I wasn't thinking anything of it. And then she tells me, and I about fainted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just like earth-shattering news.
Oh, like everything spins in your head. You're just thinking about, I just didn't know what to do.
I think the important thing, though, is she went to war. Like, literally, we had a conversation, and it was like, okay, this is a battle. We're going to war. Let's get battle ready.
Yeah.
And, like, that meant, like, almost like the movies when they're all planning, collecting everything for the battle and everyone's in motion. We were putting new blinds up in the bedroom so that it would be darker and blacked out and she could sleep better. We built a gym in the house. We installed a sauna. We
did the
like
infrared
we went
sauna.
into straight. Yeah. The day we found out she had cancer, the doctor was sort of like, okay, well, we'll get you in here in a week or so. I'm like, nope. I got on the phone, called a couple of my doctor buddies. I'm like, hey, who's the best oncologist? Who's the best this, that, and the other?
Yeah.
We had a guy, I shouldn't just say a guy.
Doctor?
Edgar Hernandez. Who's just incredible.
Got me in that day.
Got her in that day after office hours, into his office, opened it up after he was done for the day. Instead of having dinner with his family, he was there with us because we kind of demanded it. And then at one point, she had to have minor surgery to have something removed during the course of her chemo. And again, it was like there wasn't an appointment available, so we met him on a Saturday at his office, and there was no one else there. And dude's like, hey, I'm going to need help in this surgery room. You got to help me. I'm like, what am I going to do? He's like, well, just scrub up. So I scrubbed up, and I'm in there doing surgery on I'm not doing the surgery, but I'm in there helping him. It was just incredible. But my point is, she went, and she should take credit for this. She just went into straight battle mode. We're going to win.
Yeah.
It's not going to beat us.
Yeah. A girlfriend of mine gave me this book called Praying Through Cancer. And it's about women who've gone through it, and then just stories of, what they went through. And that gave me a lot of strength also. Just every day I'd read that. And every day I would just pray and say, nope, I'm going to win this battle. And you definitely have to be mentally ready for it, for sure. It was hard.
Yeah, and it also, I noticed one thing it did. We talked about friends earlier. Some of them disappeared, some came closer. Some actually just got really scared.
Yeah.
Like, and they disappeared because they were scared. It was almost like
they didn't know what to say,
or they don't know what to say, or like I could get it. You know what I mean? Or it's almost.
Did you know that at the time though, or was it something
you could almost tell? Like
yeah.
You could tell the people who were. It's a really weird response. It's like,
or when
I can't be around you because you're sick. Maybe it's like a deeply embedded human trait where you don't hang around with the one human in the herd who's dying because it means you're probably going to get killed next.
True. Or I remember
because they couldn't.
When my hair had fallen out, it started growing back a little bit, but I had wigs or I'd have scarves. And one night I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out. I don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to, so I remember us going to dinner and my friend was like, you could tell she was freaked out.
Oh yeah, it embarrassed the shit out of her.
No, I don't know if embarrassed. I
Yeah.
just don't know if she just felt uncomfortable, like she didn't know how to act. I don't know what
It doesn't matter.
was. I never asked
Cynthia
her, but
rocked that bald
I
head.
was just like, I don't care. I'm
Like
just gonna.
Jada doesn't have shit on her. You know what I mean? She just walked in. It was Roca Accor.
Yep.
We went there with a really dear friend of mine. Tony was with us.
Oh, yeah,
Shibata. He actually died of stomach cancer last year. But he was at the dinner with us and a few other friends, and one of the friends, like, it freaked her out.
Yeah.
See, like, to me, that's just, again, I probably wouldn't even recognize that in the moment. I'd be like, you're either with me or you're against me.
Yeah.
Especially when, like, you're, like, fighting for your life in that aspect. Because it's
Right.
difficult to figure out friends coming in that you didn't necessarily think, oh, they're my real friends. I didn't really see it at that time, or people that you thought were your real friends, and now they're just gone. They're ghosts. Like, it's difficult to interpret that in the moment of thinking, like, oh, they're just scared.
I think
It
it's
happens,
the same.
yeah.
I'm also same with like having to raise this money. I hate asking people for money. I just like I wasn't. That was one of my big questions when I was talking to Paige, who's with the American Cancer Society. Is like how am I going to ask people for money? I mean, I'm not good at asking people for anything. I want to take care of people. I don't want them to kind of take care of me. So that's been a big challenge for me, having to ask for people to donate.
People act really weird with
Money's
weakness.
a touchy,
It is.
Sick,
It is.
or
And
can
I'm
you
surprised,
help
like
me?
with people who do have donated, I'm like, wow, I didn't expect that person to, be so willing to support. And then others, I'm like, wow, okay, I guess. I don't know what their situation is, but okay.
One of our customers, though, pledged $100,000 to Cynthia, which he didn't have to do.
For a
And
gala. We're
for
going
a
to do a
gala.
gala in December. So he pushed
And
it to that. Yeah.
Just an incredible guy. He actually has an incredible product, and but we were on a call, and Cynthia mentioned that she was raising. She didn't ask.
Well, no,
by the
I
way.
just like
She didn't ask. She just like, hey, what's going on? What are you working on? She mentioned, and he said, I'm in for 100, and so maybe you shouldn't ask. Maybe you should just tell your story, and people want to help. Let someone else do the asking.
Yeah. No, I've been telling my story on Instagram. I've been pushing it. I'm sure people are sick of hearing about it, but
That's where all like the true people come out, though, that actually want to support, that are actually touched by your story.
Yes.
As opposed to just feeling like I'd be a good person if I helped this person out
Right.
too.
right, yeah.
It's weird how with illness, we all know how bad it is when we're sick and how we feel, right? But that empathy leaves us so quickly. Not everybody. Some people are way more empathetic than others, but for a lot of people, it leaves you. You're the first one to say when someone else is sick, oh, come on, quit being a baby or get to work. But the reality is, I think you have to, I've had to learn to do it because I'm not good at it, is just remind myself to put myself in their shoes. And it's a scary time. You're not just losing your hair. You're in extreme pain. I mean,
yeah.
chemo basically does everything but kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll put that link up as well for the American Cancer Society so that people can donate. I know a lot of people that would be willing to donate, so we'll take care of it there or something. But
Thank you.
that is, that's a very difficult thing to go through, especially obviously what you went through aside, losing and making certain friends and really hitting that glass wall per se, and like that glass shattering moment of realizing who's real and who's not in your life. And I feel like that's going to keep coming and going as the years pass by too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have our friends that they're just like golden to us. They're family.
Yeah.
And, I don't need many friends. I have a lot of acquaintances, not very many friends.
Dude, she makes friends like you would not believe. I've not met anyone ever, I'm saying this very sincerely, 33 years, who doesn't like Cynthia. Now think about that. I know a lot of people that don't like me. Like I can name a lot of them. She just, I don't mean it. We were at Chris Paul and Aaron Rodgers golf tournament in the Bahamas. Is it called like the Bahamar Open or something like that?
Yeah.
Cynthia and I supported Patrick Peterson's reading corner.
Charity.
So we donate quite a bit of money to them every year to help kids who otherwise wouldn't have books available to them.
That's right.
Kind of a theme in this family, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so they invited us to the tournament. We're at the tournament. Cynthia doesn't. She's probably worse at sports than I am. So as one example, we gave this guy a ride to his hole because he was lost. And when we got there, she was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, what's your name?" And he's like, "It's Brett Favre, ma'am." And she's like, "Oh, it's really nice to meet you, Brett." Mm-hmm. Right? She had no idea who he was. So anyway, she's in the bar because it was raining and the tournament kept being delayed. And we kept going back to the bar. And the bar is just filled with NFL and NBA
players,
A-listers, not just, people that I wouldn't know or even a good sports fan might not know who they are for sure. They're A-listers. CP3 is an example. Yep. She's in the bar giving a lecture to this guy on healthy eating. Yeah.
So, okay, this is
and
how
he's
it went.
arguing with her.
No, he wasn't arguing with me. But okay, so it was Chris Paul and I forget the other guy's name.
See my point? My point to you is before she finishes her story, it's Chris Paul, Larry Fitzgerald, a bunch of other guys, and Cynthia is holding court on how they should diet. And I'm gonna let you tell your part. Just one more thing. The next day, we went shopping in town, and we're coming back, and we've got a friend with us who works for me. We come back to the hotel. We're getting out of our Uber, and the bus, whatever they were doing, had just pulled up. So all the players are walking. They're just like right in front of the door going to the lobby, and they stop what they're doing, and they're all calling Cynthia's name.
No,
Cynthia,
Walter.
let's go.
What are you talking about? Walter, too. They were like, we made friends with them very quickly, which was so fun.
She makes friends with everybody
which
quickly.
is so fun. But yeah, but back to the story with Chris Paul. So yes, we had to keep on going back into the clubhouse. And so I remember Walter and I are sitting on a high top, and then the guys are all sitting behind us. And they're talking, I guess Chris Paul now is a vegetarian. Mm-hmm. And so they're talking about cancer, and I'm, listening to it a little bit. And then I just couldn't help myself. So I chime in and start talking to him about it. And so then we started talking all about nutrition. And
she was arguing. And, she was debating him.
No.
And she schooled him. And then by the end of it, they're like taking notes. Like, oh, really? You eat whatever kale something or another that's something about our house. Beside books, there's nothing in our house that tastes good.
Oh, that's not true.
It's all some quinoa, I call it, is it quinoa or is it kale, frickin' smoothie juice, cardboard, everything.
Isn't that the most frustrating thing about life? Everything that tastes good is bad for you.
Exactly.
Everything that absolutely sucks
Butter,
is good
bacon,
for you.
Sugar, all taste great, all bad for you.
Yep. But you guys look great though, so that's the most important thing. You guys
because we don't have anything to eat.
Yeah. I saw pictures of you when you were younger, much skinnier guy. Now you're like a big.
I don't know. Well, I was pretty skinny.
Skinny. Yeah.
I wish I could be skinny again.
So what? I'm the exact opposite. I guess the grass is greener on the other side because I'm trying to gain like 30 pounds.
No.
Well, no, you work out a lot now, but your metabolism was on fire when I first met you.
I work out for her, for the family. I joke with one of my friends. We work out to live. Yeah. I'm not a health nut about it. The first thing I do is I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym. And I don't work out hard. I'm in there and I'm watching the news, drinking my coffee, taking calls, and I just kind of lazy my way through the gym for an hour or so. And it was my son, Milan. Actually, he's the one that did it because I wasn't in good shape. And he said, "Dad, you know what you should do?" I'm like, "What?" He says, "Just go to the gym. Even if you don't work out.
Just go.
Like, just go in there."
Yeah.
Because sooner or later, you're going to be in there and you're going to be like, "What the fuck am I doing in here? I should work out." And I did. And 2-3 years later, that's what I do every day.
So you would go and just kind of like go through the motions and not...
Well, no, he knows me really well.
Yeah.
He knows that I'm super ADHD and hyperactive. And he's like, "Look, I know that if I tell my dad to go in that gym, he's not going to sit in there and do something besides working out. He's going to work out because that's everything that's around you.
That's what you're there to do."
And he's, they all are. The kids are, that's another thing we're proud of that she raised them with is healthy eating, healthy lifestyle. It was God, health, education, and helping other people. I mean, she kind of said them all at one point or another, and that's what she raised me. I was She did.
I did.
My
yeah.
mom will tell you that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
My
My mom
mother-in-law
will say-
says
she
I'm the
thanks
best
him all
thing
the
that,
time.
that has happened to him.
Yeah.
He was like
Oh
a
my
diamond
God.
in the rough to me. It was like I knew it was there that, he
Just a
it
few
doesn't-
tweaks,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I knew he needed guidance. That's what it was. He needed guidance. He was brilliant. He was so smart.
Can't even tell you the number of fights when we first got together that I got in with her just because somebody said or did something, and she housebroke me. That's really what it was.
Oh my God. Well, I feel like you knew it deep down inside because, like you said, didn't have much money to work with, but at the same time still wanted to make big moves. Like you still.
But he didn't know how. He
Right.
really
So it was
didn't know
just
how.
frustrating. You were probably just
No,
frustrated.
I knew
as all
how. I
hell.
just didn't know how the right way. You know, one of the things that's really, really, really cool about having some level of success, and we certainly want to have more. You know, we're building 2 companies right now, and we're grateful that they're both growing and they're both doing well. But if I could grab a bunch of kids who came from the same circumstances I did and explain to them how easy it really is. Mm-hmm. In other words, the energy that you're putting into this over here, it's the same amount of energy to screw something up as it is to make it work. You're putting a whole lot of hard work into falling behind. Let's just change the direction. And it changes everything.
Absolutely.
All that frustration goes away, and all of a sudden it's like, I was an idiot. Like, how did I not realize this almost?
Yeah.
There's people pulling them in a bad direction a lot of times. And it's the people who want to have company,
Yeah.
right? They want them.
Misery likes company.
My dad used to always say that the people in the ghetto are like crabs in a basket.
Yeah.
They're all trying to crawl out, but every time one of them just about gets out, another one pulls them back down into the basket.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, growing up, my mother loves me, right? But at the same time, it's like, it took me 3 years to convince her for me to come out here just for school.
Oh,
3
really?
years. Like I said, my grandparents lived right down the block,
Yeah.
Nobody left.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was the one that's like, why do you want to leave? Like, what's wrong with us,
Yeah.
So I had to they're like, okay, we can buckle down. We'll look at schools in Boston. Like, Boston's like 3 hours away. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, that's
Like, Arizona, California, like, that's what I was looking at. And I'm like, I'm doing this no matter what,
So
Yeah,
what
and
made you pick
And you
Arizona?
went to GCU, right?
Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry.
went to GCU. Yeah, I came out here to look at ASU, and on our way back to the hotel, we just came across GCU. So we're like, let's check it out. They let us on campus. One of the professors brought us into his classroom for like a lecture. Then we saw that it was 12 times cheaper than ASU, and I'm
And
like,
there's
it was a cool vibe.
Girls outnumber guys 7-1. I'm sure they told you that in the first few sentences.
Absolutely.
I heard that
played a
like 20
factor.
times when we were
Yeah.
taking Tatiana. Oh yeah, because they want to get more.
The first floor, all guys. Floors 2 through 5 in each building, all girls.
Oh, wow.
Must have been
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
It was. I
Gross.
love GCU. Yeah.
We loved it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's on the up and up for sure. Like, when you look at all of these big universities, what they're doing, they might be outgrowing themselves,
Yeah.
but they're growing.
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
a lot going on there. I feel like we're going to run out of power here in the next few moments. It never rains in Arizona, I feel like I've cooled down a
pouring
little
out
bit.
there.
We're both wearing the leather, too, so like,
know.
I'm feeling good right now. I have a ton more I want to talk to you guys about, but we'll wrap up this episode for now because I know you guys are very busy people, too, so I don't want to take too much of your time. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Cynthia, do you know what that link that we could use? I'm going to put it up anyways right here, so they'll have it for you.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
And I appreciate you guys both for coming on. She's always been good to me for the
I
most
know.
part.
For the most part, yeah.
I appreciate you guys taking the time. This was episode 552 of the podcast, guys. Be sure to check out that link below. Check it out.